everybody. It's the Monday Live Show, Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, and I see you're already starting to convene in the room, so welcome aboard. Come one, come all. Heck, it's not even that far from Halloween. We might start giving away candy soon. Have you gotten any trick-or-treat candy, by the way, Boy Green, at all?
Not yet. I don't have that ready.
Now, Boy Green's a little under the weather. You might hear it a little bit in his voice, so thank you for soldiering through here, Boy Green. I know it's the old, I get it from the kids, and I just, what are you going to do? It's just the way it is.
Exactly.
You're sick, the parents get sick. That's the way it is, especially
inevitable.
The little ones, and you got the two little ones. So I hope everybody there in the Esden household starts feeling better sooner rather than later. But man, do we have a weekend of football to talk about, and still a twin bill tonight. Monday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills. We won't really get to talk much Bills today because they play tonight against Bijan Robinson and the Atlanta Falcons. And that game is in Atlanta. And then we've got the Washington Commanders and Jamie the FedEx guys, Chicago Bears, getting after it in D.C. So all of that to come tonight. So another nice twin bill. I think it's another 7-8 deal, Paul, right?
Yeah, I have it in front of me. Yes, I believe
we
have
times on the games there.
Yeah, let me get that. 8:15 is the second one. That's Commanders Bears, and 7:15. Separated by an hour. 7:15.
The old overlap there.
Yes.
So you could get them both in before bedtime, and that will work pretty well. With the later one only at 8:15, not too bad. But two what we hope will be competitive games there. But man, a lot to catch up on over the weekend. My Giants, of course, they played Thursday night, so not really a lot to say other than I'm in Giants gear, and it's nice to be a Giants fan right now. We got 2 wins. It's the quarterback situation is feeling better and better every day. And heck, aren't we all just ripping off our shirts and showing off our pec muscles now that Cam Scatterbo has arrived to accompany Jackson Dart on this journey for the Giants? So that's kind of the fun part of the whole Giants story right now. These 2 rookies literally energizing an entire fan base to say, we are here, we are going to win some games. We may not be playoff bound, but we're going to be interesting. And certainly those 2 guys have made it interesting for the New York Football Giants. Go ahead, BJ.
So, Lerch, let me give you go. Okay, we'll go full screen. Go ahead. Give us your Cam Scatterbo. Yeah, go ahead. You're just going to
rip it this Giants. I couldn't even rip this if I wanted to.
That's the truth. It reminds me.
That was some sight after the game with him and Ryan Fitzpatrick tearing off the shirts.
Yeah, that was quite a look.
Fitzy.
Willing to still get it done. Hey, there you go. I'll tell you.
It's got a couple of loose screws, I think.
Very much so. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Your running back in general, Cam Scatterbo, seems like a weird guy. I've seen some tape or not tape, just video clips from his Arizona State days. And there have been clips of him ramming his head against a brick wall before a game to get his head right. And then just his mannerisms. If you've ever seen him on the sideline, even during that Thursday night football game, he's twitching and just sort of just sitting on the field with some weird quirks and mannerisms. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? It seems like he's a few tacos short of a combo meal, but nonetheless, his football
crazy can work in football.
That is for sure. So Giant fans should be absolutely elated. There's some excitement, and I didn't know if that was going to happen this season with all what it appeared to be at the beginning of the year. So man, to have a young franchise quarterback hopeful, to have Cam Scatterbo running all over the place, no Malik Neighbors, which stinks. But I mean, if I'm a Giants fan, I'm probably pretty giddy right now, knowing that I got a couple of young bucks here on the offense, and obviously the defense spectacular. So that's pretty exciting, I imagine.
Now, I saw, despite, we'll talk about the Jets in just a moment, but despite the woes, I saw yesterday was a day of celebration for you, an anniversary of sorts, a very interesting anniversary.
Yes.
10 years ago. How do you know to the date, for crying out loud? But apparently 10 years to the date yesterday is when you were a young buck hanging out in that studio with me and Bud Poliquin. And were you an intern at the time when I gave you that name?
I was.
So. Yeah, because I had a habit when I was in the studio as a radio host that I would give the interns nicknames.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to you, I don't know, a few sessions in, I said, hey, Paul, do you know, I typically give all the interns nicknames. I said, I haven't come up with one for you yet, but I'm working on it. I'm thinking about it. And so I saw you posted this yesterday, but 10 years ago to the date yesterday, October 12th, back in 2015, Boy Green was given the nickname Boy Green. Paul Esden Jr., I should say, was given the name Boy Green. If anybody wants the genesis behind it, go ahead, Paul, jump in.
The only thing I was going to say is, and I don't look at this often. I don't use Facebook a lot for personal stuff much anymore. Although I guess lifetime achievement things and
Right, sure.
The family goes to the pumpkin patch. I'm like,
Right.
hey, here's a couple of random pictures of
Yeah.
us at the pumpkin patch or something.
Gotcha.
But like, I don't use it much anymore. But when you go to your notifications, it says, hey, do you want to know all this cool stuff that happened on this date in history? I'm like, I guess. And I'll sort of be scrolling through. And it's a little nostalgic. And then this comes up and I'm like, what? It was 10 years ago. And that's how it happened. Because at first I just saw the cape. And the cape is how I remember the story of like that sort of coming together. So I
Right.
remember that as a seminal moment of wearing the green cape. And that sort of, I don't know if that really, sort of struck a light bulb in your head of what it was, but that's how I remember the whole boy green thing.
Why did you wear the cape that day? I don't.
No reason. I have no
reason.
idea. I just because I'm an idiot. I don't know.
You're
And
just watching that Seinfeld episode where the Frank Costanza meets with his lawyer who wears the cape, and they're like, he's with the guy that was wearing a cape. Why is he wearing a cape?
Right.
So you just came into the studio one day wearing a cape. You just
for
like,
no
hey,
reason
like
whatsoever.
Superman today. Let me put on my green cape.
Yeah, right. Which I got at the state fair like a month or 2 months, whatever the time frame works earlier. So I just got it, and I'm like, when will I ever wear this cape? I'm like, oh, at the radio station, that'd be a great place. So yeah, I just randomly wore it there, and yes, so the reason that I am boy green today is solely because of the guy above my screen. If you're watching here on YouTube or wherever you're watching Twitter or what have you, that the boy green thing that now is crazy is what it was. And Lerch, I don't know if you want to tell the side of the story of like how you came up with this name. And
I mean, real quick. I mean, it's it's not an incredibly detailed thought-provoking story.
Sure.
But like I said, I gave all the interns nicknames back in the day. And so I wanted a nickname for Paul. And as you can see in that picture, he would come into the radio station basically the way you see him every day. He's always got green on. I mean, I don't know that you own anything that isn't green for the most part, or very little. Let's put it that way.
Very little. Yeah.
And so, so you were always wearing green. It was either a Jets jersey, a Celtics jersey, a Jets t-shirt, a Celtics t-shirt, or even just if it was generic, it was just green. Like it was
That's
just
true.
A green t-shirt, a green sweatshirt, green hoodie. Didn't even have to necessarily have a logo on it. He just always wore green.
Yeah.
So I was like, boy, that'd be, something with green would kind of work. And then you were the Jet guy. So I was thinking, I grew up when I was younger with a TV cartoon show called The Jetsons.
Sure, of course.
Jetsons, Jets.
Yeah.
And they had a son on the show, and his name was Elroy. So that was the first thing that popped into my mind is, do we call him Elroy? It's the little theme song from the Jetsons, and we could get it and even play it probably. It's that easy to find. Yeah. All right, but he'd be his boy Elroy. Do, 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 do. Right? And they name all the characters, right?
Sure, right.
And I was like, that's got kind of an interesting, like, why would anybody be called Elroy, So that was one thought. But then the other one was I grew up with Howard Stern in New York City.
Yes.
And Howard Stern always had his sidekick was what was his name again? Boy.
Oh my God.
Gosh.
I'm an idiot. What is it?
Now that I'm going blank.
Baba Booey?
Baba Booey is his, Baba Booey's nickname was Boy Blank. Why am I not right now? It's just escaped me for the moment. It's going to come to me in a minute. All right. And so I like that because you were young and you're kind of vibrant. And so I was like, I like the boy thing, Yeah. So I was like, why don't we call him, Boy Green? It just makes sense. He's always wearing green. Let's just call him Boy Green. That kind of rolls off the tongue. I mean, Elroy's like, I don't know. Like that's not, people would be always asking, what is that?
Is that like your middle name or like what's going on there? What's
it might even just be mistaken for a middle name or something. So I wanted something that clearly people would say, oh, that's a nickname, because that's the idea. And so Boy Green was born. It was just that simple. So I
all right, here it is. I believe we have it here. So 1 second. Let me get this up.
Got the Jetsons theme there.
Yeah, let's pop this up. Yeah, here we go. All right, here we go.
Play it,
Yeah, let's see.
Just as I remember it. Here we go. George Jetson. His boy Elroy. There you go. His daughter Judy.
Yep, sure.
Daughter Judy.
Jane, his wife.
Yeah.
Jane, his wife.
Okay, all right, you can kill it. All right, so there you go. That was the opening, theme. All cartoons back in those days had theme songs,
Very nice. Yeah,
They were very catchy, and so that was catchy. So it was nearly Elroy, but it turned out to be Boy Green, and then you embraced it very much. Like you could have been like, oh, I don't want to, what are you calling me that for, or whatever, But you didn't. You embraced it, and then you throw on the cape and the whole 9 yards, and the next thing you know, it just became who you were. So.
Yeah, I will say that, when you didn't give me a choice. Like, you told me, like, hey, you walked me through that same story you just told everybody else. They're like, hey, I was thinking Elroy. I'm like, oh, boy, in my head. And then you're like, but it ended up being Boy Green. And then in my head, I'm like, well, Boy Green is certainly better than Elroy. But I'm like, oh, Boy Green, I'm not really sure about this. But it's, by law, the radio gods. So once you're given the nickname, you're sort of stuck with it forever. And then, so yeah, I embraced it. And then all of a sudden, a few years later, right, the Jets documentary, Twitter Diehards, which I'm going to have to eventually get that movie poster thing from it because it's pretty cool. And they introduce, with all the smoke fog and everything, here's Boy Green. And like, it's crazy to me that this name that you came up with in your head for this random intern 10 years ago gets on an official New York Jets. I was inside their building and they were filming stuff and they said, hey, Boy Green, like signifying me from the name that you made up about my Jet fandom, and that it somehow made it on there. So I will never, I'll always pinch myself to say, like, that is the craziest thing of all time. So
some days are meant to be, as they say, right? Meant to be.
So, right.
It's fantastic. Oh, man. Will you? Oh, what does he say?
Yeah, let's answer this immediately.
And will you ever be a man green?
To be honest, that sounds like a disease.
Yeah.
So hopefully, the older I get,
green,
and the more silver that comes in here, I just sort of say the Boy Green nickname keeps you young at heart or something, like whatever it's going to be. So hopefully, it remains Boy Green forever. A man green just doesn't have the same ring.
Pep just throwing all kinds of things on there.
Yeah. Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
True.
What's that? How does that work?
I don't know. Maybe the green hair, maybe Beetlejuice.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Hey, Halloween's right around the corner. You never know, Hep. You never know what's possible. So yes, I saw that on the Facebook notifications. I'm like, no freaking way. 10 years ago to this date in 2015, the last time the Jets had a winning record was 2015. So I said magical. That is when I started my
anniversary, Boy Green.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
10 years of Boy Green, and let's hope that the next 10 are better than the current 10. All right, let's talk about the Jets. That is topic A, because the Giants played last week and the Bills don't play till tonight. Yeah. So really the only New York team that we're going to deal with today, at least head on, is the Jets and what happened to them. Wow. This was rough. And this was just a rough game. They played very competitively against a very good Denver Broncos team coming off a very good win. So that should be noted. Yeah. Other things that should be noted is the defense absolutely showed up for this game. The Jets defense played really inspired football, good football. I was like, oh, right. Yeah. Okay. This is more of what I thought this season was going to be like on that side of the ball. And anybody that's a Jet fan knows how many problems the Jets have had on special teams. I mean, special teams is just one firing after another firing, and they're like, this guy go, let this guy go. I mean, we got nobody that can hold on to the ball, that can make a good decision on a punt or a kickoff. And they had also a very, very functional, if not very good day on special teams.
They had a 74-yard return from Kene Iguanu. Yeah, it was spectacular on special teams. Yeah.
Great day for special teams. So you'd think the defense and the special teams are in order. Wow. You're saying we got a chance? Now, who knew that the offense was going to play like this? Negative 10 passing yards for a football game. Yeah. Is really almost unthinkable. Yeah. It's the worst in Jets franchise history. And, this is a history that goes back into the 60s.
That's correct.
I mean, I didn't look at every stat like across the board, like how bad it is in comparison to the worst of all time in the NFL. But I mean, it's up there.
Yeah, they had 82 total yards of offense. Yes.
Yeah, 82 total yards of offense, negative 10. So the passing game counted against the running game.
Correct. Right. Yeah.
82, but it was 82 for total yards because of that.
Correct. Yeah.
Where does it leave the Jet fan? I mean, I guess that's the question, is where does it leave Jets fans now? I mean, it's an 0-6 record.
Yes.
And it is a disastrous offensive performance. And to be honest with you, where do you turn? I mean, really, do you really, as a Jet fan, want to roll out Tyrod next week and just say it's Tyrod? Or do you want to go all the way to the practice squad and get that kid? I don't even know anything about Brady Cook. You'll have to educate me because I don't get past second stringers on my depth chart, especially when it's teams that are 0-6. So I know you do. You know every player on that roster intricately, but I can't say I know a darn thing about good old Brady over there. Other than he has the same first name that the greatest of all time has as a last name. I mean, that might be the one good thing he's got going for him.
Can't hurt.
What do you do? You are the penultimate positive Jet fan.
Yes.
He's a silver lining in every Jet situation. I know that somehow, some way, deep in your precipice here, you are seeing some kind of silver lining. So where do you turn here? What do you do?
Well, I'll start with the positive. And I would say it's what you just said. The defense finally showing up. They were on pace to be the worst Jets defense of all time in terms of points allowed. And they had talent, but it just wasn't coming together. So if Steve Wilkes had another poor performance in London, there was a chance he could have been fired. I
would have had some firings. Yep.
Very realistically, that his name would have been on the hot seat. So to see this effort, first off at all, is encouraging. Like, oh, thank God, we knew it was in there. And number two, can the Jets build on this? If their defense can play like this, they can win games this year. I know that seems impossible with them currently winless as the only team in the NFL that hasn't won a game. But that, to me, is encouraging. The special teams, the return of Kene Nguanu, who's a former All-Pro returner. He had a 72-yarder. He looked great. That seemed to sort of rev the engine of others. One of the former villains that had a terrible, you mentioned some of the special teams gaffes that have happened this season. In week 4, Isaiah Williams had a fumbled kickoff in the second half that resulted in a Dolphins touchdown, and he fair caught a ball inexplicably at the 2-yard line, and he was cut and brought back to the team, and he had a chance for redemption yesterday, and he played very well. So shout out to and Nick Folk. So Nick Folk has not missed a kick all year. He's 3 for 3. He's really the only good thing happening for the Jets. He's 40 years old, but it doesn't matter. Like a fine wine, he's aging well. So special teams and defense were really good. And you hope if you're the Jets that you can build on that part of it. But the offense, I mean, there's nothing positive I can say, unfortunately. Negative 10 in net passing yards is among the worst that the NFL has ever seen before. To believe that there has been worse is hard to stomach. And here's the other thing, Lerch. I don't know if you saw this. Garrett Wilson got hurt during the game.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And he left the game, then came back out and left the game. And boy, if you hear what Garrett Wilson said after the game, it doesn't sound good at all, quite frankly, about his status. And I normally don't like reading into those kind of things, Lerch, but the way that Garrett Wilson was talking after the game sure sounds like to me that this is going to be a issue that causes him to miss serious time. And Aaron Glenn, who spoke right before our show, he did not provide a medical update saying we'll get some more information on Wednesday. Just like if you heard Garrett Wilson yesterday, you did not hear a guy like one of the words he said, and we'll play the clip here in a second, but one of the words he said is pray that everything comes back okay. Like it just, those were all kinds of negative energy. And here's the bad part about that. Well, first, let's hear the comments. Here's Garrett Wilson.
All right. Are you worried that you could miss some time here?
I mean, we're going to find out, man. I don't want to say nothing too early or nothing, but just trying to wait for all this stuff to come back. And, it's really messing with my mental, and I don't even want to think about it for real. So just pray that everything come back good.
Did you already undergo tests or whatever? Is that?
And there's some more stuff from that where he said he already underwent some initial tests, and then there was a playful thing back and forth with him and the PR guy because a person said, "Oh, was it your hip, Garrett?" He went, "No, it's not my hip." And then someone went, "Back? Is it back?" He went, "No, it's not back." And they turned to the media PR guy. There must have been a mic right there, and he said, "What am I allowed to say?" And the PR guy just said, "We'll figure it out tomorrow." We'll figure it out tomorrow, folks. So there's this fun, playful thing back and forth. But in all seriousness, he looks like he's going to be out. And, man, Garrett Wilson is a straw that stirs the drink. The other receivers on offense are Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard, Arian Smith. Like, if they had one of the worst offensive performances yesterday of all time with Garrett Wilson, what would it look like without Garrett Wilson? Oh, boy. That's the negatives that's creeping up on me.
All right. Wax poetic for a second. Get into the comments for a minute. I just have to step away for a quick second. I'm coming right back, and then I'm going to ask you this question. Okay. Should your coach have tried to kick a 62-yard field goal? That
Okay.
question is coming up right when I return. Okay, go ahead, Boy Green. Take over for a minute.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let me get to some comments in here. Appreciate you guys chiming in. Again, real quick, we got 200 people watching the show. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We're on both of our YouTubes. That is the Manchild Show, Boy Green Digital YouTube, and Boy Green, my YouTube channel. We're also streaming live on my Twitter at BoyGreen25. Guys, if you will have Manchild show this in a second, subscribe to this channel. You may be watching a lot of different platforms, my YouTube or my Twitter, but go to this YouTube handle. We are doing free giveaways, free. There's no twist, no quirk, no nothing. It is free to subscribe to this channel, and we are doing giveaways. If you're one of our first 500 subscribers, we're giving away a $400 golf club. So you can get that for yourself or for someone with the holidays coming up. So if you want a chance to win that, subscribe to the channel. Get all kinds of cool content, but also a chance to win free stuff. So make sure you guys take full advantage of that. Let's get into some of the comments here. Jamie the FedEx guy. Hi, fellas, on our YouTube page. NFL football, we love it. The unpredictable nature drives me crazy for sure. That's what keeps it interesting. Jamie saying, Boy Green, so sorry for your Jets. Yeah, they're 0-6. They would have the number 1 pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Not great, but appreciate that, Jamie. Hey, fellers, we got Hep in here, which is great. Hep saying, Paul forgot to tell you your play-by-play gets better with every game. You're finding a groove. Yes, I've really enjoyed doing that this season. So thank you, everyone who tunes in for that. For all the Jets games outside of the ones I go to, which was the Cowboys game, I'm doing play-by-play and watch party analysis where you guys can tune in and watch a game with me. I don't have the TV rights, so I can't broadcast the game on the same screen, but I give you the play-by-play of the game. That's been a lot of fun. So thank you, Hep, and everyone who pushed me to get into that. Jamie the FedEx guy. Jets made Boy Green sick. It certainly did help. You can hear it. It's all here. I have tissues and everything else by me. I've been sick for a bunch of days here. I feel like absolute crap, but hopefully we heal up soon. So appreciate that. Phil Larmer saying, I ordered my Welcome to the Dart side hoodie. Yeah, enjoy it. Again, Giant fans should be happy about the Jackson Dart merch that apparently is out there. So that's that is awesome. Yeah, Lerch, you're gonna have to jump on that. Welcome to the Dart side. And plus, he's obviously this big Star Wars nerd. He was quizzed after the Thursday night game with some Star Wars trivia. He went 3 for 3. He did very good. There was some very difficult Star Wars trivia there on set on the Amazon Prime set, which was very nice. That was a good time. And I see Bad Shot coming in here as well. So shout out to Badshaw.
So what do you think about, let me go back to that question I asked you before I stepped away there. Were you thinking he should have kicked it? Like, I don't know.
Yes.
I can 100%. Tell you what, live, I was like on the fence because, you know, Folk is not a young guy. He's not really, at least these days, known for his length, but he's been a really good kicker so far this year for the Jets. And everybody seems to be making these 60-plus yarders like they're nothing. Yeah. And considering the way the offense was going, the idea of putting it in Justin Fields' hands, even for another down to try and pick up another, you know, few yards to get him a little bit closer and run some clock just didn't seem that viable. So you would have kicked it?
100%. I mean, Lerch, me and you were at the Jets-Cowboys game last week, and here's the thing. Nick Folk attempted and converted a 58-yarder, which was a career long for Nick Folk. He did that at the Cowboys game. We saw it, and it was coming towards us, and it had room left. So, yes, I would have kicked a 62-yarder. Now, if the Jets would have been minding their P's and Q's, they would have gotten slightly closer than 62 and have been thinking that through, but they did not.
Right.
62-yarder, what are the chances of converting? I don't know. But to your point, there's special kicking balls this year. You guys could go Google this. There's a whole lesson to be learned on the changes that happen with the kicking balls and why there's longer field goals being made. There's all kinds of rule changes that happen this offseason that teams are taking advantage of. So, yes, I don't know what the chances are of him making it, but probably better than the 4th and 8 where Justin Fields had looked all day. Terrible. So, yes, I would have kicked it. And I wouldn't have blamed AG for kicking it. I also, if we're going to blame AG for anything, the end of the first half was an absolute debacle.
Terrible. It was like they couldn't decide what they were going to do.
Correct.
That's the problem, is like, it's one thing to kind of botch something, but when you botch something just simply because it doesn't seem like you have a plan, that's never good for a new coach. It just, that shows that rookie-itis that you don't want in a competent coach. And that's what it looked like. It looked like Aaron Glenn he couldn't decide what to do, and then it just turned into a train wreck.
Yeah, and he tried to explain it this morning, and still I'm more confused the more he tries to explain it, because it was a 4th down play, but one ref said first down, one ref said 4th down, and then ultimately they sided with the ref that said 4th down. But if you're the Jets, why not call a timeout with whatever it'd be 3 seconds left and try a Hail Mary? Now, I get it. The Jets 2 years ago, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago? I think it was 2023. The Jets were in the Black Friday game against the Dolphins at Thanksgiving, right? You know, there was the first Black Friday game ever. Tim Boyle attempted a Hail Mary, and the Dolphins returned it to the house for a 102-yard Hail Mary pick six, and the Jets got laughed at. Now, that was crazy. But what are the chances of that happening again?
Right.
Mostly good things can happen. You throw it, it's a Hail Mary, you get the touchdown, you get points. You throw it a passing interference call, if somehow that happens, you get that. Right. I don't understand the risk. You're at the 50-yard line. Justin, just chuck it as far as you can and let's see what happens. It's a Hail Mary. I mean, it's sort of in the description. So right. Yeah, so AG did say today that that's a mistake he made, and he says if he could have went back and redid it, he would have at least attempted the Hail Mary instead of just letting the clock bleed out. But yeah, his explanation was suspect to say the least. And yes, so to answer your question, I would have attempted the field goal if I was Nick Folk and the Jets.
You and I have talked about this for years and years and years, going all the way back to the radio days. And it's kind of one of my pet peeves, and that is I call it PR 101. I am blown away by how owners, general managers, coaches, and even all the way down to the players, who in many cases have received schooling, education, coursework, formative stuff to better understand the world of PR, public relations, how you as an entity, player, coach, GM, owner, whatever you are, relate to your audience, okay? Sure. The people that follow your team, the people that love your team, the people that buy your tickets, that buy your merchandise, okay? Yeah. They just want to follow along. They want to know, they want to feel like they're on the pulse of the team and so on and so forth. And I understand very much, being around a lot of coaches and interviewed a lot of coaches over the years, how coaches tend to defend players. You want to defend your
guys. Yeah, makes sense.
You should be the insulator to your players, okay?
Yes.
You tell your players, keep our problems in-house. Let's deal with them inside, behind closed doors, as we call it. We have all these wonderful metaphors, right? Let me be, the face of the franchise, the voice of the franchise. But Aaron Glenn stepped into the podium after that game and taking issue with a reporter who asked a totally legitimate question that every person wanted to know, okay, that follows the Jets or otherwise. Did you think about taking him out? Did you think about going to number 2?
Lerch, we actually have that footage.
Go ahead. It's just a bizarre answer. Aaron Glenn needs to go back to PR 101 school. He needs the Manchild to advise him. Don't step to a podium and say this.
His numbers are not good from this game. Is he going to be your quarterback next week, or would you consider?
What kind of question is that?
Look, he did not have a good game. I mean, I think it's a fair question.
There's a number of guys that, sometimes this league is like this, and there are guys that have bad games. That doesn't mean you just bench them. Come on, you know better than that.
Okay, so the question was about not whether you wanted to pull him, which we were all thinking maybe you should pull him at some point. It was, what about next week? Is he your quarterback next week? I mean, to react to that like it's an out of left field question, like, what are you even asking a question? We all have bad game. Plenty of guys have bad games. Not like this. This is negative 10 yards of total passing offense. The part of the game that he's responsible for netted in 4 quarters of play, negative 10 yards. Yeah. And your team, by the way, was in the game pretty much till the end of it.
They were.
He could have converted a 4th play or could have kicked a 62-yard field goal. Heck, they might have won the darn game.
Sure.
That was just PR 101 train wreck there. That was Aaron Glenn going down a really slippery slope and not well. That was bad advice or bad thinking on his part to answer that question that way.
Yeah, I have no problem with defending your guys, but I think there's a fine line between defending your guys to a fault and then also holding them accountable for the rest of the locker room. Everyone's going to see on Twitter the negative 10 net passing yards. One of the worst statistical things a quarterback has ever achieved, for lack of a better word, in their careers. And they're all going to see that. And they obviously saw the game as teammates where they said, man, if the offense just had a pulse at any point, we would have won this game. And he was the quarterback of said offense that couldn't do anything. So, yeah, for AG, I think that was clearly a mistake. Now,
And this is a guy, Paul, just to jump in for a second. This is a guy that a few weeks ago cut a guy because he was playing poorly on special teams. Xavier Gibson, bye-bye.
Yeah,
because
true.
We're accountable here. The new Jets, accountability. Yeah. Well, then in that case, Justin Fields should be gone. Let's just cut him. Let's just move on. I mean, that's, if accountability is really accountability, just because a guy gets paid a little bit more, okay, that we had higher hopes for a guy doesn't excuse a guy. Heck, it might even make it worse. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and as Badshaw says, that was the worst thing we've done to England since 1776. That's a very fair point, Badshaw, which is true. I would say this.
Bravo.
I have absolutely no interest in seeing 36-year-old Tyrod Taylor, who's the only other quarterback on the 53-man roster. And then to your point, Lerch, if you want a 101 lesson on Brady Cook, the undrafted free agent out of Missouri, and teammate of Jets first-round pick Armand Membu, I would love to give a presentation.
Guy. I didn't know that.
Yes,
okay.
He's an undrafted. They didn't, and he's fine. He played just fine in the preseason, but I don't know. Like some people, again, it's the mystery box. What's in the box? Anything could be in the box. So, like, everyone's favorite player on the team is a backup quarterback. And in this particular case, our backup quarterback is ancient, and he's the host of Tales from the Crypt. So he's not going to be able to do anything. So to me, you just, as painful as it is, you've pot committed to Justin Fields. You called him the guy. You hoisted him as the guy in the offseason. You have no choice. You have to keep riding the train. And now, eventually, if these performances keep happening on a week-to-week basis, then maybe you got to make a business decision. But I don't know. You're 0-6. No team has ever started 0-6 and made the playoffs. Not that I need to bring up the playoffs here. Like, the season's over. So now the rest of the season has, shifted from whatever you thought it was before to evaluation mode. Now young guys need to start playing. Veterans need to get benched that are not going to be long for this team. That's what the Jets' decision has to make.
Now. It's all about the future now.
And the NFL trade deadline's on November 4th. Ian Rappaport shared that the Jets have received the most trade calls of any team in the NFL, which obviously is not surprising. So do they become sellers? And what does it say to the rest of the team? Like, who's up for grabs? Who are you willing to move? How big of pieces are we talking about here? It's a big part of the conversation.
Here's what I said to you. We talked about this a little before we got on the air today. And that is this. So clearly Fields was struggling to throw the ball. Okay. He was getting it out incredibly late. He was doing what he's been doing over and over again. We even saw it when we were live there at MetLife Stadium just a little over a week ago, just holding on to the ball too long. It's like 1, 2, 3 out. If you can't, throw it away, or take off. But here's the thing that the Jets didn't try yesterday that I was very surprised at. So clearly he's having a bad day throwing the ball. I mean, keeps throwing it, below the guy, above the guy, short of the guy. I mean, everything's just off. He's releasing it too late. The guy's making his cut, and that's when the ball's supposed to come out, right before the guy makes his cut on the little down and outs. And he's waits till the guy makes his cut, takes 2 steps before it even comes out. Of course, the defender gets over, knocks it away. It's just, this is QB 101. I mean, this is the most basic stuff you learn in a training camp in the NFL. Heck, you learn it in the Pee Wee leagues, for crying out loud. We don't even have to go to high school ball to be learning these kind of things that we do in football. But why didn't the Jets, just knowing that Fields was having such a kind of a rough day passing, and it seemed just clear from the gate, he just didn't have it throwing. It's like a pitcher going out there. And it's just, the curve just ain't breaking much, and just oh boy, that curveball has just got no snap in it, and 3 guys have hit it out of the ballpark now. If you're the pitching coach, you go out to them and say, let's just throw fastballs and off speed, and let's just stay away from the curve today, because that curve is just not breaking today, and we're not going to get anybody out with it, right? And then you change tactics, and if it works, it works. So why didn't Aaron Glenn and his offensive coordinator,
Tanner
Engstrand, right? Who was, I found out yesterday in the broadcast, I didn't know this, was the roommate of Kevin O'Connell. Didn't know.
Yes. And
it was
Darren,
him and the GM of the Jets,
Darren Mucci, at San Diego. They were Aztecs. Yes,
they were all roommates. Interesting. Yeah. So is there osmosis here? Does Kevin O'Connell rub off on Engstrand because they were roomies, and Moogie? I mean, I got 2 of them.
Yeah, they were teammates. They were all on that college football team. Yeah, San Diego State.
Well, anyway, one could only hope, because Kevin O'Connell has been such a great offensive mind. But, if those 2 guys, picked up 1/10 of what that guy has inside his mind, then, fantastic. But my point is this: why didn't the Jets just turn Justin Fields into the running version of Lamar Jackson? Just RPO it up. Everything's run the option. just go into that end of the playbook that has every RPO possibility and see if you can get him going with his feet rather than his arm. And if he's going to throw it, it's on an option where he could run it or throw it, and he sees the guys wide open, and then hopefully he can just get the ball to the wide open guy. Get him on the move and get him running, because this is what makes him unique. It's one of the things that certainly has attracted every team that has had Justin Fields so far in their offense, is that, wow, he's got this dual threat thing that's really, really different. You know, he's might just be this much in terms of the dual threat ability. Now, the other guy has a few MVP awards, so I hate to even compare the two of them. But he has some Lamar running through his veins in terms of his escapability, his overall athleticism, and his foot speed. He's tough, okay? When he gets moving, he's tough to get him. So why not play up that? My only thought on that, Paul, is that I know he was concussed a couple of weeks ago, and he's only been back a short period of time. And maybe they just have mindfully said, let's just back off on the RPO stuff right now. Let's get him, let's get him to a point where we really feel comfortable with him being off this last concussion. All right, let's not rush that along. But I also think, he's got a short contract with you guys. It doesn't look like he's the future. Like, who cares? Like, I hate
run him to the ground.
Horrible.
Yeah, right.
It's like the running back that you're not going to have at the end of this season. All right, just keep giving him the ball, baby. He can get it done. Give him the ball again. I just don't understand why the Jets would be so cautious, other than maybe they have a conscience, which if they do, well, I guess I have to, I'll golf applaud them for having a conscience. But I think when you're trying to win football games, oftentimes coaches and GMs and owners don't have a conscience. They just want to get a W. So that was the thing that kind of had me scratching my head a little bit, is why aren't they doing other things with him rather than thinking about bringing in the backup or the third string guy? Why not just try and get him going in a completely different way? Like, throw the game plan that we had out and come up with a new game plan, because we're in this thing. And if we just can shake him loose a little and get him to produce something on the offensive end, we might have something here, enough to maybe win a football game against a pretty good football team all the way over in London.
Yeah, there was two things that confused me. I'll start with what you just said. Yeah, if you can't get him going with his arm, then okay, utilize his legs. You have Breece Hall. You have option plays. I imagine all kinds of funky things you could go. Tanner Engstrand, by the way, his calling card where he first got a chance to call plays was in college. So the college playbook, I imagine, is something he's quite familiar and comfortable with. So go back to whatever works. Again, you have to, sometimes you have a plan and then you have to throw it out based on the thing. We've talked about this before in Radio Land, Lerch, and sometimes we've had radio shows prepared and then all of a sudden a breaking news story comes in. We're like, oh my God, we got to throw everything aside and adapt to the new information that's available. I know the Jets spent all week coming up with apparently perfectly concocting an offensive game plan against this Broncos defense. But once you're in the middle of the game and you're in war mode, you've got to just like fight for your right to survive. You have to do whatever you have to do in that game and screw whatever you guys plan for. Let's try to adapt and pivot to those things. So them not using Justin Fields running enough was concerning. Here's the other thing that's baffling. Breece Hall, for the first time in his NFL career, did not have a target out of the backfield. He has always at least had one target his entire career in every game that he's ever played outside of this game, where he didn't. The Broncos lead the league in sacks heading into this game, and they only added to that with 9 more sacks getting piled on top of it to have 30-plus sacks. They are the Kansas City Chiefs in 1992 are the only other team that had more sacks in the first 6 weeks of an NFL season than they have. So they've been awesome. And what the Jets, what's a way to combat blitzes and pass rushes is screen pass. So
let him be over aggressive, dump it, bingo, into the secondary you go.
Which would also be easier for Justin Fields to just dump it off because you don't have to read anything. You just have to wait, draw them in, and just bloop right over the top, and then make some big boy decisions. So that's part of it as well that really confused me. I don't understand why they're not doing it. Tanner Engstrand, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to show me Chiefs. Yesterday I saw the Chiefs doing a reverse to a flip, back to a reverse to a flea flicker. That's all cool, and that's cool eye candy. But just give me the bare basics at work. So Breece Hall not being targeted is absolutely confounding.
Get what take what the defense is giving you. And if the defense is getting after you on the pass rush, always one of the best weapons, the delayed draw, the screen, the bubble screen, it's just there are always options. It's disappointing. So no RPO game to me kills them, and no screen, backs involved at all in the passing game was also very, very befuddling by the Jets. So this thing just reeks of a lot of questions coming out of this. By the way, today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Play It Again Sports. That's right, Play It Again Sports, where you can get those gently used sports at wonderful, wonderful, cheaper costs. That's always fantastic. And you can trade in your stuff at Play It Again, and you get money or store credit if you like. For your gently used goods. I brought in some golf clubs earlier this season, and I got some nice cash. I was like, yeah, all right, this could have been dust in my basement or cash. I'll take the cash. Thank you very much. And buy something else. So you can do that with our friends at Play It Again. The group that sponsors us is Play It Again in Syracuse. It's right on Erie Boulevard in DeWitt. Let's just take 30 seconds, learn a little bit more about our friends from Play It Again.
Warm weather sports season is here, and if you want to gear up and save money on some of the top brands of golf, soccer, and baseball equipment, and much more, Play It Again Sports can be your solution. With both new and gently used gear, Play It Again has prices way less than regular retail stores. And for all you golfers out there, get some quick money for those clubs you've got stashed away and are collecting dust. Play It Again is always looking for quality gear. No appointment necessary. Just bring it into the store. Play It Again Sports in the DeWitt Town Center on Erie Boulevard. Don't spend more. Play it again. Play It Again Sports. Syracuse.com.
And speaking of golf stuff, you can see it right here. I have this beautiful, let me get the head cover because it gives you the whole picture here. It is the Cleveland, lovely Cleveland logo. Highbore XL comes with the head cover, of course, and it is a brand new driver. Play It Again, as you just heard, selling used equipment and gently used equipment for cheaper prices, but they do have some new gear as well, and this one is adjustable, both a weight in the back, and you can see the adjustability right there on the shaft for the loft of the club, for all of you that know golf. All right, brand new club, spanking new, going out the door. Think of what a great Christmas gift this would be for someone, even if you're not a golfer. All you have to do is be one of our first 500 subscribers. We are moving faster and faster towards that number. But if you can tell 2 friends and so on and so on and so on, we can get there that much quicker, and we can give it away to one of those 500 people. There's the link right there, youtube.com/MC Show Digital. You want to subscribe at our YouTube channel. Okay, that's where this giveaway is attached to, only to our YouTube channel. Of course, you can follow us on all the other wonderful places that you see flashing in the right-hand corner of the screen there on Instagram and Facebook, whatever your favorite social media, X, whatever it is that you like to follow. But YouTube is kind of our home base. And by the way, one of the cool things about subscribing on YouTube is, number one, it's free. And number two, our entire archive of videos is on YouTube. All of the shorts that we put together on a weekly basis, all the way going back to 3 months ago when we started this thing. Every live show is archived. Every video that we've shot with all our Jets insiders and our Giants insiders and our Bills insiders, all the Syracuse football coverage that we've done so far this season, all on our YouTube channel. So YouTube is kind of home base. While we send stuff out to the other portals all the time regularly, YouTube is kind of home base. That's why we want you to subscribe at YouTube. Again, youtube.com/MC Show Digital. Free golf club going out the door. No money. Not asking you for anything other than a click and a follow. That's all we need.
Yeah, and I highly recommend. Badshaw says he's trying to get it for his buddy. I'm trying to trying to win my buddy those golf clubs, and that's what I'm saying. You guys can have this golf club for yourself. You can get it for a gift of any kind. So again, the faster we get to this 500 subscriber total, the faster we'll give it away. So we'll give it away as soon as we reach it. If we reach it today, great. If we reach it tomorrow, great. A few weeks or however long it's going to take. So make sure you get your friends and family to also subscribe to the channel and make it an easier process. And of course, they will all be eligible as well for this giveaway if you're one of our first 500 subscribers. So take full advantage, folks.
So do it today. All right, we'll put a nice, neat bow on this Jets thing. All right, Boy Green. So you know me, right? And you know that the Giants, as much as the Jets have had some bad seasons in recent years, and you know from doing all those radio shows with me, if I were sitting at 0-6 right now, what would I be saying, Boy Green? Go ahead. I don't even have to tell you. Tell the audience what I would be saying.
Let me see. I think I actually have a picture that'll best appropriate this.
You have a picture about this?
Yeah. I think this will best represent exactly what you're talking about here. This will be perfect. I think I know exactly. I think I'm picking up exactly what you're putting down here.
Yep.
We present this immediately on the screen and see if I am correct. You know, it's important for when we're in a relationship to be able to finish each other's sentences here. So is it?
Yeah, that's it. I'd be thinking about the old tank. All right. The ones I used to play with when I was a little kid. because and I'd probably start talking about the draft. I'd start talking about, hey, so is that Manning kid any good, or how about that kid out at Oregon? He looks pretty good, even though they lost this past weekend. Or, I mean, man, we've talked about this time and time again. You don't want to live in purgatory, all right? And purgatory is the middle of the pack. Okay, purgatory is the middle of the pack where you're not getting in playoff games, you're not getting in meaningful postseason games, all right? But you're also not winning enough, okay, or not losing enough, to be at the very top of the pack and be getting one of those top 5-ish kind of draft picks. So if we were drafting today, this is where we stand. Thanks for throwing that up. But I'd be looking at things like this. I'd be like, all right, Boy Green, well, look at the bright side, man. My Giants are number 1 draft pick right now. If we don't screw this thing up, we can be the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
So, and I got to think, by the way, I mean, you look at some of the teams in this pile. I mean, come on. Once Lamar comes back, and Baltimore's got their bye this week, and then Lamar's back next week, the following week. So Baltimore's going to get some wins. I mean, even as banged up and horrible as they are, with Lamar back in the lineup, they're going to beat some teams. So they're not going to be, they may be, they could be somewhere in this lot, but they're not going to be at the very, 3rd place of this lot. So that.
Well, Lerch, consider this, right? So the Jets play the Browns. They play the Browns on their schedule. They play the Ravens on their schedule. They play the Dolphins on their schedule. They play the Saints on their schedule. They play the Bengals on their schedule.
Oh my
5
goodness.
of the top 7 picks of the 2026 NFL draft right now are teams they play on their schedule this season. So
they have a chance to lose ground on all of those teams. It's fantastic.
As Rich Samini said on Twitter, if the Jets get the number 1 overall pick, they will have earned it.
Yeah.
The equally terrible team for the National Football League.
Yes.
So, it's
Is there even a prized possession right now? It seems like
there isn't.
I mean, before the season started, everybody was talking about
Arch Manning or this guy,
but now it's a little foggy, which is never a good place. You don't want it to be foggy. You want to be in one of those years where it's definitive,
clear cut, right?
But it still never hurts to be either at number 1 or near the top of the draft, because you're going to get quality. You are going to get quality. If you scout well, you're going to walk away with players that are going to start for sure. And in many cases are going to be long-time players, maybe even potentially Hall of Fame type players with a long career. So, that, Boy Green. I mean, look, there's one standing where you are last, and then there's this standing where, look, next to the Jets is a number 1. I mean, it's not bad to be number 1. Number 1 is good. Look, we're number 9 right now. The Giants are number 9.
That's true.
Number 1.
There we go. Let's
I'd rather be number 1 than number 9 right now.
Yeah, that's true. So let me go full blast here.
Number 1.
There we go.
There you go.
Number 1.
Man.
So we'll see. So I will say, if we have a top pick, then we got to get a quarterback, and we'll see which quarterbacks are available. I'm going to be honest, I've tried to avoid mock drafts and any of those things for as long as possible. But yeah, as Hep says, it's only the 2nd week of October. I'm sorry, man, but that's just where we're at. Although
I know, well, tanking is tanking. You got to start doing it right away.
That's true. While your Big Blue is currently on that graphic, shout out to your boy Brian DeMuro. Morning, gents. How about them Giants taking out the Philadelphia Eagles for the first time in a long time, and to do it on Thursday Night Football in blowout fashion? Look at you, Lerch. You guys could have had 3 wins if you would have figured out that Saints game, but still, hey, 2 wins. Maybe against the Chargers and the Eagles. Those are some impressive dubs.
3 would have been viable because at least now you feel like you're in something. 2 feels like, you're getting some token things here, but what will it all mean when the season's over? But I think at this point, it's funny how teams go through evolutions. And I think at this point for the New York Football Giants, regardless of how it turns out, W's and L's this year, this team, it's almost like they have to learn how to win again. Or maybe as the Jets were saying, and I think it's true of the Giants too, how not to lose.
Yeah.
So, I think the Giants are at a point now where they just come out of a draft where they had a really high pick at number 3, got a really good player, managed to trade up and get a 2nd pick in the 1st round, and may have their quarterback of the future. Looks pretty good so far. So now the next stage of evolution for the Giants is the stage of belief. We got to believe in ourselves. We got to believe that we can be good. We got to believe that we can win against anybody on our schedule, that we can go out there and win a game. And it just hasn't felt like that for a lot of years here as a Giants fan. So the fact that Dart and Scadaboo primarily, of course, there are other people making this happen as well, are breathing life into this franchise again in the idea that we can win. This team can win again is refreshing. So at this point, while I value being higher in the draft because they're not going to be a playoff team in all likelihood, I also value what it will do to the current players on this roster. They have a lot of young players on this roster in terms of being able to show that they can win games. So I think the Giants are at a different evolution right now. Unfortunately, even than the Jets, which I thought the Jets a year ago were ahead of the Giants, and the records would say that they were.
Right, sure. Yeah.
Okay, but now this quarterback change and everything, it's become a disaster. I will still say this, Boy Green, and I don't know if you agree with me, and I hope you do. Letting Aaron Rodgers walk was the right thing. I don't care how it ends up. They go 0-17. I still say letting Aaron Rodgers go was the right thing because that was going nowhere. That was a train to nowhere. And I know he's doing well with Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's probably going to be in the playoffs, okay, because of everything that's happened in that division. It's completely come apart. It looked like a great division. It's a disaster now. But come on, they did the right thing by walking away from Aaron Rodgers. I will stand tall behind that regardless of results. They had to move forward. And if forward means failure with Fields, and that gets you to the top of the draft and it gets you to another pick, then that failure was meant to be. That's what I'll say about that.
Yes, I concur, and so does Badshot for that matter. Amen, Jim. I'm glad we got rid of Rodgers. Here's the thing I would say.
They had to walk away from that situation.
Would the Jets win more games this season with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback? Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe. You could make that argument, but
I would say maybe. I wouldn't say probably. I might say maybe.
Okay, and let's say it's maybe. Like, then you're in purgatory. I don't think the Jets with Aaron Rodgers suddenly are going to the Super Bowl or something. So, and not going to the playoffs. So if that's not happening, then you're 6-11, you're 7-10, you're 5-12. Like, you're worse off. You're like at the bottom end of the top 10 as opposed to you want to either be terrible or great. You don't want to be in the middle. We've talked about that for a long time. So I think congratulations, Aaron Rodgers. He's playing in this division that's imploding with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow hurt. The Steelers are the favorite to win the AFC North. They'll have a home playoff game. We'll see if they can actually get over the hump of winning a playoff game. That'll be up to them. But no, Aaron Rodgers, I was dead wrong on I'll just say this since we're talking about it. My hot take before the season was that not only would Aaron Rodgers not lead the Steelers to the playoffs, but he would deliver the first losing season ever under Mike Tomlin. And freezing cold takes me up. I was dead wrong at this point. It appears that way. Then I'm going to be absolutely wrong and off. And Rodgers will look pretty good. He's in a stable organization. They're winning games. They're beating up on bad teams. And we'll see what they can do moving forward with these opportunities. And they still have to play the beat-up division that they're facing without Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. So I agree with you. They made the right decision to move on from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Glenn clearly wouldn't have vibed together. And the Jets need to take their lumps as they're taking them, which is an unfortunate reality to take for Jet fans. I haven't seen the playoffs in 14 years, so taking more lumps is something I'm sure they're not running in the front of the line to do. But take these lumps to try to see if they can turn this organization around. So it was the right decision. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Look at this. Badshaw throwing out some Pokemon stuff here, Boy Green. You used to be a Pokemon guy. So dissect this for me here. Go ahead.
So the Giants started out as a Pichu, evolved into a Pikachu. That's here in the arm. Yeah. But the question is, will they be a Raichu at the end of the year? Now,
which is the most evolved of the three, right?
See, Lerch, you don't even need me.
I know a little bit about Pokemon. My son used to collect Pokemon cards a long time ago.
Okay. And did you take any notes and quotes from your son about that?
No, but I remember some things. I remember Charizard, and I remember I knew the fire and the water and the like the green, the forest, right? Was it?
Yeah, Bulbasaur. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Which, by the way, here we go. Let me put this up on the screen. So, Lerch, the question that Badshaw is asking is, will the Giants become this? And I'm throwing up on the screen here. This is a Raichu. This is the evolution of a Pikachu in my arm. Will the Giants be a Raichu at the end of the year? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm colorblind. Is that green? Is he green?
That is orange. That is an orange Raichu with yellow ears and a yellow tail and yellow little electronic pouches on its cheeks.
I had a Pikachu sitting on this bed here for a long,
Okay.
long time
right.
in this little side room that I'm in these days
Yeah.
where I've built the studio, but that does not exist anymore
Oh,
now that I've turned it into an office/studio. But yeah,
sure.
I had a Pikachu. I like the yellow Pikachu, but
Sure.
this
Yeah.
is a more evolved Pikachu. I
This
suppose
is a bigger version.
the
Yeah.
powers are greater, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Right. I think it's a Thunderbolt, and
So, yeah,
Thunder attacks are a
he's
little
electric.
stronger.
It's got electric.
Yes.
qualities to
Yes.
it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's an electric Pokemon type. Yes.
Okay.
Will the Giants be a Raichu at the end of the year, Lerch?
I don't think this year, no, but
Okay, so they're going to remain a Pikachu,
I think they'll remain a Pikachu the rest of this year.
which there's nothing wrong with that. That was the face of the franchise for many years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remains to
You
this
just don't want to
day.
go back to being a Pichu.
Yeah, you don't want to go down. Which, by the way,
That
let me
direction.
get that
We're
for
going
you. So you
that
can,
direction.
yeah, let me see
This
the.
direction.
Yeah, let me see if I could get the evolution.
The evolutionary chain.
Yes. Okay, here we go. This will be very helpful for you as you see sort of the evolution of how they evolve. Wow, I never thought we'd be going in this direction here
Well,
on the show.
sometimes this show just does. It goes in all kinds of directions. It's just
That's
the way it goes.
absolutely true. So here it is, Lerch. Okay, so I'm going to flip this on the screen. Okay, it goes from left to
All right,
right.
there you
So
go. Yeah.
far left is Pichu, middle is Pikachu, and the far right is Raichu. So that is the evolutionary chain that occurs with these rat Pokemon,
All right. So I think we've moved from stage 1 to stage 2.
which is great. That's an important stage. Yeah.
Great. And and Raichu is on the is on the horizon, but I don't think it's this season.
Is it next year, or it's still 2 years away?
More likely 2 years away. But there can be again progress in that direction next year. Again, draft smartly. So far, Joe Shane actually has a pretty good drafter.
Sure.
Especially if both Abdul Carter and Dart work out, plus Scatterboo, who was drafted in his class as well. Plus, they just the last 2 years they've had guys that are really contributing in the lineup day in and day out that were drafted. So they have been good drafters.
All right, let me give you a deeper level Pokemon question here,
Okay.
Lerch. So, a Pikachu can only evolve into a Raichu with the aid of a Thunderstone. He needs a Thunderstone to be able to evolve from a Pikachu to a Raichu. So you say that the Giants are a Pikachu right now. What is the Thunderstone? What is the thing that takes them from a Pikachu to a Raichu? Is it an addition of some kind?
Right.
Is it
Continued good drafting and yes, and the addition of somebody through either free agency or trade.
I see.
That they, I mean, I was really hoping that Kayvon Thibodeau, we'll see how it goes. We're still early in the season, but I was hoping he would have kind of a breakout-y kind of season. So that
he's had a couple of splash plays.
Yeah, he has, but it's not there play in and play out, game in and game out with him. And again, this is another guy who was a very high draft pick. So because if he just showed, a little bit more, then he'd be a prime guy that the Giants could trade. And then they could get real assets for him. Maybe even a more established veteran player that really would just fit with this group and kind of be, be like a, I hate to bring up Fred Warner on a day we're going to mention that Fred Warner is done for the season, but, he's a lot older, but, could they have that guy, that Fred Warner kind of guy that just like becomes the glue of the defense, all right, and brings all these young guys together around this one veteran? Like, I could see that happening. Plus, they have, assuming again that Carter is what we think he is, all right, they have the tools with the other two guys now, with Carter and Burns, where they're paying a lot of money to Burns, as we know. So they don't, really, Thibodeau has become kind of expendable, and they could go get a different piece and maybe even a better piece for him. So that's, I think that's the final piece of the evolution is, again, another really good draft class. Obviously, Jackson Dart is what we think he is.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
And, something from free agency or trade that kind of, pushes it over the top a little bit. I think that's the only way to get there. But I still think it's 2 years.
It's okay. But here's the thing, that you have the Thunderstone. You can evolve the Pikachu whenever you're ready to evolve the Pikachu. So we will see to a Raichu. Wow. Good colorful stuff there, Badge.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Wow. Okay. Good flash of the past there for Lerch to get back on his Pokemon knowledge. Nice.
Yeah. We used to play some kind of Pokemon game, me and my son, that would, with cards.
The trading cards? Sure. Yeah. I used to do that.
Yeah. And then how would you, I don't know. He He taught me the whole thing. I don't remember.
Yeah. There used to be Game Boys where you got to play them on the old Game Boy. You know, that was very nice. You could train your own Pokemon. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I got Pokemon Stadium over there. I would dusted that off in a while. So
I mean, again, you have to remember, I grew up in a generation where we traded baseball cards when we were little kids.
Yes.
And you would do like, the cards had like colors on them, and the way that you would flip, you'd like flip, you go 1, 2, 3, flip, and then you'd flip one that would be the third one in the pile. And then if the guy matched your color, he got the whole stack, and you were putting good cards into that stack. Sometimes like, oh man, and the pile would get big. You're like, oh my God, there's a Willie Mays in there. There's this like, like.
How do you establish value? So if me and you wanted to trade baseball cards, how do me and you, just a couple of tykes, determine whose card is worth more or what it's worth?
Well, that's the thing is, it wasn't like today where we actually like have these monetary values on cards.
Right, sure. Yeah.
Really, cards for kids of my generation, they were just valued by the player on them. Like, I love these guys, or I like this player, So yeah, I think the value was intrinsic. It was more like how you valued them. So there were certain guys that I would want to lose, or, because I was a Met fan, I was always trying to collect more Met players. That didn't make them more valuable,
I guess that's true.
I know that Bud Harrelson was more valued than, say, Pete Rose out there, who kicked his butt, by the way, one day on a baseball field, but yet I would have wanted Harrelson over Rose because he was my guy. He was a Met.
Yeah, right.
So that was, so, but we used to, get pretty, it got pretty tense, doing the trade, trading and flipping. Now, sometimes you could just straight out trade. Sometimes you just sit down with your buddies, you'd pull out your cards and like, all right, how about I give you, a Rose and a McCovey for Harrelson and, Al Weiss or something.
Right.
I don't know. I only got one Weiss, I don't really want to part with him, but I'm offering, and you try to
barter and negotiate. Yeah. I see. Nice.
And, sometimes they, and sometimes you just put the cards away and you walked away with what you had. And other days, wow, look at this.
Hammer out a deal.
New cards, and we used to keep our cards in books, so like you had team books.
Of course, I have the binders. So I used to have all the cards in there.
Binders, we used to have the binders. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun trading cards back in the day. And don't forget, we used to put them in the spokes of our bicycles too.
Oh, yes, right.
It's like the bad ones, the one that I had like.
I was just about to say, it has to be the least valuable one since they're getting beat up.
We had no idea what we were doing back then, no. And you'd put a clothespin, attach it to the fender of your bike, and then stick the card in the spokes.
Get the sound. Yeah, right.
Yeah, as the faster you went, the louder the sound. Yeah.
By the way, Bad Shot says, Lerch, you got to reach out to your son today to say that that he loves that you know about Pokemon. You got to tell your son you had that nostalgic conversation today. You're riffing Pokemon today on the show. Yeah, he'd be very proud of you, I imagine.
I'll tell him I was, okay. He was. I wouldn't even know Pokemon if it wasn't for my son. I wouldn't know it, and I wouldn't practically even know it exists if it wasn't for my son collecting cards.
So there you go.
I think all his cards are gone. I mean, he does not have.
Oh yeah. I still got all mine somewhere buried.
Yeah, most Pokemon collectors have kept their cards, and some of them might really be worth something.
Well, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Ours were very much treated like the baseball cards of my childhood.
Okay.
Yeah. They were there for a time, and now they're completely gone. And they were, by the time I was done with them, they were pretty beat up and
I see.
No longer worth anything anyway. You know how you got to have them in mint condition.
Of course, yeah, the PSA
grade. Yeah, get a grade.
I got a couple of cards, both sports and Pokemon cards.
Mine would have been graded awfully. It would have been graded awfully.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a couple of things in the world of football since it is our Monday show before we get out of here on a Monday. All right, so we talked Jets, obviously. Sure. You don't have any regrets on Rodgers, right?
Definitely not.
No. Okay. You're with me on that. Definitely. All right. Let's talk Tampa Bay and let's talk Baker Mayfield for a minute. Tampa gets another win yesterday, albeit against the 49ers team that is just bleeding in everything. And now the Fred Warner injury, as you just heard me mention. So, but still, a win is a win, and that's still a good team with a good coach. And so, and Baker is really, in all honesty, becoming a serious MVP candidate. I don't think it's speculative at all to start mentioning him as a potential MVP for this football season. Give me your thoughts on Baker.
Yeah. Did you hear about the Tez Johnson story, Lerch?
Yes, I did. Go ahead.
Oh my God. This is one of the funniest. So let me just say, this team is so lovable, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, man, and they're finding ways, although they just had their first. Yeah.
Godwin gets re-injured.
Yep.
Evans is taking forever to get back. Who knows how many more weeks before that old man gets back on the field, for as long as he's done it. But hopefully he does sooner rather than later. And then they lose Egbuka right in the first quarter. I think they lost.
Hamstring injury.
That brings it to your guy here. Another rookie. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so they're this lovable team, and they've been winning last second in all these games. This game against the 49ers, as the Buccaneers tweeted about, was their first victory formation of the season, because you can only do that when you have victory secured, and all the other ones you're in last second battling.
Correct.
And Tez Johnson scores this crazy touchdown from a pass from Baker Mayfield, and there were a chance of MVP from the crowd. Here is the exchange.
I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. This is crazy. When I score and I hit MVP chant, I'm thinking they talking about me. So I asked Shep. I'm like, Shep, they was chanting MVP? And he was like, yeah. I was like, I ain't do nothing this year. And then he was like, they talking about Baker, Tez. And I was like, well, that explains it. But he is the MVP.
Tez Johnson, what a hilarious story.
Of course, Sterling Shepard, the former Giant that he's
correct. Yeah, and Tez Johnson, the wide receiver, caught that acrobatic touchdown. Thought the MVP chants were for him, but they went, no, man, it's for Baker Mayfield, who, by the way, has been spectacular. And if MVPs were given out after 6 weeks of play, he would totally deserve it. The team's winning in dramatic fashion. He's putting up crazy points. On that 3rd and 14 where he's getting sacked by 2 49ers and shakes out of it and pump fakes and dives forward. I mean, he's a Superman out there, and he's just like, he doesn't look like, I'm trying to think of a super chiseled, crazy quarterback. The name's I can't even think of a name, but just think of Superman, right? Chiseled chin and 8-pack and a rocket launcher. Josh Allen is probably, he's got the supermodel wife and actress wife, whatever, and he has everything going for it. Baker Mayfield is a shorter guy, a little stubbier, a little grizzled. Yeah, 100%. And so the everyday man can be like, look at Baker Mayfield. Look at him just doing it for all of us and doing it out there, and he's killing it. The Buccaneers are winning games, and everything you just said, all the injuries, Chris Godwin, Emeka Buka, Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan, all these guys that are out, and it doesn't matter. They're just finding a way to find a way. So it's awesome. The Buccaneers, they're
a great story. Great.
100%. We've had this guy on our show before, Nick Faria, who is a beat reporter for Jets X Factor and also does stuff for the Riverdale Press. And he said earlier this season that the Buccaneers are a Super Bowl contender. And a lot of people made fun of Nick and said, what an idiot, what a stupid take. Right. And look at them. They've been spectacular. So a lot of people... Yeah, a lot of people owe Nick Faria an apology because the Buccaneers look awesome. So, terrific, fun, explosive, and what a team. And look, Todd Bowles, former Jets coach.
Let me ask you that. Are you happy for Bowles, or are you disgusted with the fact that he leaves and he becomes a really credible coach? I mean, he's been a terrific coach in Tampa. He's been the right guy. It's funny how the right guy at the right time applies a lot in sports. Bill Parcells was the right guy at the right time for the Giants when he came along. Tom Landry, when he came along all those years ago, was the right guy at the right time for that Dallas Cowboys franchise. All right. Todd Bowles, to me, fits that mold. He's the right guy at the right time for this Tampa franchise. It just really seems to work. And I must admit, I'm shocked. I mean, I have heard nothing, and I mean nothing, but good things about Todd Bowles from people that he worked with along the way that thought when he came to the Jets, he was going to be incredibly successful. And those same people still say the same things about him. But the fact that he actually has figured it out and has figured out how to be a head coach and be an effective one it's very unexpected to me. I just didn't expect it. Despite all of the people saying good things about him, I still didn't think it was going to happen. I just wasn't sure if there was true leadership in this man from a head coaching perspective. Obviously, he's proven me wrong. He's proven a lot of people wrong. I think he's the right man for the right job at the right time. But are you happy for this guy or not? Or are you sad as a Jet fan? What in the world? Everything we, do turns into something. It's a disaster,
Yeah. There's a lot of different touch points here. I would say, first off, to boil it down to this simply, when Todd Bowles has had a quarterback, he's done very well. In 2015, his first year at the New York Jets, they won 10 games, and they should have made the playoffs. They did not make the playoffs, and Ryan Fitzpatrick had the best year of his career and set all these Jets records, and he was terrific. In all those other years, Ryan Fitzpatrick fell off a cliff, and then they went to other quarterbacks, and they stunk. So Todd Bowles stunk. We go to Tampa Bay. He took over with a final year of Tom Brady to mess around with. Then they stumble into Baker Mayfield, and it all works out. Todd Bowles has always been a masterful defensive mind. That has never been in question. He's always been really good on defense, but the offense and clock management, some of those key situations, he's sort of, disaster. You described it perfectly. It's been awful. So to go back to, am I rooting for the guy or how am I feeling about him? Todd Bowles has never done me wrong outside of all the losing with the Jets that made me upset. Like Todd Bowles is a family man and former player, longtime
like a
player
good
in the
dude.
league.
Does seem like a good dude.
He seems like good people from every interaction of
Yes.
people I know that know him. It's been all good. So no, good for him. I'm glad that he landed on his feet. He went back to Bruce Arians after getting fired by the Jets and was able to cultivate and kind of get his crap back together and get his sea legs under him, and he's turned it around. So no, I'm happy for Todd. So any success Tampa Bay has moving forward, as long as it's not against the Jets, which already happened earlier this season, I'm rooting for Todd.
Okay, fair enough. I like that he's having success too, and Baker is definitely an MVP candidate. We talked about it in the Friday picks, Paul. I'll touch on it real quick here. Vegas is brilliant.
Yeah.
And we got to that pick for the Sunday night game, and I sat on it, and I was like, the minute I saw the sheet, I was like, what in the world is this? Something is wrong, in the state of Denmark here. Something is upside down and backwards. Why would the Detroit Lions, coming off 4 straight wins and the way that they've played, be underdogs to this Kansas City team that didn't even win last week? They didn't even win, even though they were more competitive and looked a little bit better. They didn't even win. All right. And I know the game's in Kansas City, but I still thought, Detroit should be favored by a couple of points here. Instead, Detroit was a 2.5-point underdog. And I just kept looking at it going, this is the spot where I probably should take the Chiefs, even though every bone in my body says take Detroit. Every bone in my body says Detroit's going to show up and win this game and show who's boss, right? They're just a better team right now. And sure enough, Vegas is right. Not only does Kansas City win, they more than cover the 2.5.
Yeah, 13. They won by 13. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so mad at myself that I didn't essentially flip that pick and go against my gut. I'm a gut picker a lot of times, but I should have gone against my gut. That thing reeked, and I was like, oh, Vegas,
we openly talked about it on the show.
We did. Yeah. I know so much more than we know, and I should have taken Kansas City, so I'm really upset with myself that I didn't take Kansas City on that one. But let's talk about that game. So is Kansas City officially back? How differently do you feel about the Chiefs today than you did before this game last night?
The Chiefs just beat I hearkened back to, and I know Bad Shot's in the chat, so he's going to remember this. When the Jets were in their heyday in 2008, they acquired Brett Favre, and they played the 10-0 Tennessee Titans. The Jets went down to Tennessee, and it was CJ2K, it was Lendale White, it was Kerry Collins, and the Jets beat the Tennessee Titans, and Brett Favre came off the field and he was interviewed, and he says, I don't know if we're the best team in football, but I know we just beat the best team in football. And that was sort of a rallying cry for that crazy season the Jets had in 2008 with Brett Favre at quarterback. I go to this game. The Chiefs just beat the best team in football, which I thought were the Lions, who had won 4 in a row. They look awful in week 1, got smacked around by Green Bay, but Detroit was firing on all cylinders. I'm like, man, this Detroit team looks awesome. And they come into Chiefs Kingdom, Arrowhead Stadium, and play that game, and then they just take care of business. And now the Chiefs are going to get stronger. Rashee Rice is coming back. Xavier Worthy is only going to continue to get healthier, and Patrick Mahomes is doing Patrick Mahomes things, shaking off Aiden Hutchinson sacks and delivering the ball, and Andy Reid is Andy Reid. Like, man, I would like to take this opportunity
It's coming together.
I want to give a warning to the rest of the NFL. My Jets can't do anything about it. They're on 6. They're out of it. But to the rest of the 30 teams in the NFL, the Chiefs being 31, the Jets being 32, the other 30 teams, do what you can to make sure they don't make the dance, because you are going to regret it. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. The teams that know how to win have a special secret sauce. And when you've been there before and you're a winner, it's in your blood. It's in every fiber of your being. And they just find ways to win. That happened all throughout last year with the Chiefs. Everyone called them lucky. And sure, they got to the Super Bowl and lost to the Eagles. But they just have that moxie, a belief. They know Patrick Mahomes has done it before. They know Andy Reid has done it before. They know this team has done it before. And they believe that no matter what the odds, no matter what the stakes, that somehow, some way, they're going to come back and find a way to win these games. And when you have that kind of belief and you're in a playoff game, let's say the Chiefs are a wild card team because we have no idea what they're going to be for their division. Let's say they're the 7 seed going into Buffalo or something, and Buffalo's a 2 seed. I would be scared bleepless if Patrick Mahomes is coming into me and I have home field advantage and I have that Chiefs team with that smirk across the face. We enter the fourth quarter, it's a tie game. I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy. So I'm warning you, the rest of the NFL, you better take care of business, start taking out this Chiefs team. They ain't dead yet, which I offered to Dalton Wasserman last week. I gave him a fork. I said, do you want to stick a fork in the Chiefs? Because, like, everything seems like it's going a certain direction. He said, no, I'm not going to do it, which was smart on Dalton. But, hey, man, you better make sure you kill the Chiefs because they're going to be always dangerous when they're in the mix.
And you're totally right to say it. I mean, I'll use just a little silly analogy, but it's so true. So when I was younger, I played baseball, and then as I became a young adult, I played softball. Bud always laughs about those stories because he thinks softball is a wimp's game, and if he played baseball all the way up into in the over 40 league, in the over 50 league.
My dad used to play in the softball leagues, yeah.
But softball is no easy sport to play. And a lot of baseball players don't even play extremely well in softball because softball is such a different animal. But so I got into softball. As a baseball player, I wanted to keep playing baseball of some sort. I couldn't play hardball anymore, so I wanted to play softball. Yeah. So the first few years, I got a group of friends together, people from the block, people that I knew from around town, people that were close to me, and says, hey, let's put a softball, let's join a softball league, let's play softball. Yeah. And we went and played. And we were just a bunch of buddies. And to be honest with you, we kind of stunk. I mean, we had some good players. I was a pretty good player. We had a handful of other good players on the team. But then we had all these like weak links, where you just knew like in a crucial moment if the ball was hit to this person or if this person was up with 2 men on in the last inning and we needed 2 runs, they weren't going to deliver. Like you just could feel it. And so I played with that group of friends for a few years and incurred a lot of losses. And then I was like, I hate losing. I can't do this anymore. So I for a year, I said, I'm not doing the team this year with these guys. I'm going to see if I can join another team. And so I went out seeking a team this time as a better player. And I found a different group of guys that I didn't know very well at all that took me on. And, and I remember when I first started with this team, I was batting at the bottom of the lineup. I was like playing right field. They were like, they were just like, they didn't know anything about me other than, look through practice that I could play.
Yeah.
But I was on this team and I earned my way up the lineup. As the season went on, they saw that I was better than they thought I was, and they saw that I could play other positions, and I moved to a more prominent position. But here's the thing. That team that I was on, and I was only with them for 1 season, they had a winning attitude. It was incredible. You felt like no matter who we were playing, we're going to win today. Like the team just had the juice, and like we could be down 5 runs and 2 innings to go, and you'd be like, we're going to do it. Here we go. This is going to be the inning. And then boom, 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 a couple of hits, and then it would just snowball, and then we would just take over. And that team, we were fantastic. It was a fantastic team. I think they won the league, and it was but it was a great experience to be around a winning environment. And I was like, all right, this is kind of fun. I love the winning, but I don't really know these guys. Now I got to go get my own group of winners. And so I went back and got the 3 or 4 good guys from my original team, and then had a powwow with them and said, we got to find some other good people. We need to build a team of winners. And then we went out and basically we recruited other players, and you can do this in the softball world. And we found other winners out there. And then we put together a team that after 1 season of kind of just getting used to each other, we started to win, and you knew it. You knew it. You could feel it like late in games. You just knew these guys weren't going to make mistakes. They were going to make the big plays when it mattered. They stepped up to the moment. They didn't wilt in the moment. They weren't nervous about it. They were energized to be bases loaded, 2 outs in a winning situation rather than like, oh God, if I make it out, everyone's going to hate me. I think that was the original way people thought. So there is something definitely be said, and I can just look at it from just that little softball perspective of putting a team of winners together. You have to believe, and you got to believe in each other, and there has to be this kind of magic special sauce. And I agree with you. The Chiefs have it in a big way.
Yeah, just that last point you just made. It's exactly that. Like, right, teams that have never been in that scenario, it'd be understandable to be nervous entering a 4th quarter and then you start thinking of all the ripple effects. Yeah. Man, my team's relying on me. Man, if I blow this, how many chances are we going to get back to the playoffs? And Mahomes over there is I've already won 4 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls, 1 million Super Bowls, however I won. Just another day at the office. And just like, again, that cold killer. Like the Chiefs always find a way, and then it's in all of our heads. Oh, the refs always help out the Chiefs. Like it's mind games, man, and they win the mind game. So 100%. It's a warning to the rest of the NFL. The Chiefs are definitely not dead, and oh my God, they're coming. And Freddy Krueger or Mike Myers, we're right around Halloween time. Like that zombie, if you don't kill it, is going to haunt us all. We're going to come back to look at that and say, ooh, should have got the Chiefs while they were down.
Yep. I got you. So that's that. And just a couple other news and notes. We got to talk about the crazy thing that happened a post-game presser for Tua.
Oh my goodness gracious! Let me
Tua
get
kind of going after his teammates. Oh, this was hanging out your dirty laundry in the worst possible way. I mean, clearly this thing's wrong with the Dolphins right now, but I don't know if that was, again, PR 101. A wise tactic by Tua to go public with that and start talking about people not coming to players meetings and hanging out your dirty laundry in the worst way. Oh, Tua, what are you doing? That's just going to make the Miami Dolphins that much worse, their situation. So, let's vamp on that for a second here.
Yeah, I feel like, real leadership, and if you've been around a lot of jobs, you see leadership in a lot of different ways. To me, leadership is not it's the integrity. It's not what you do in front of the camera and in front of the mics and what you say there. It's who you're holding accountable behind the scenes when no one's watching, that you were able to rally the troops. If there's real issues, you address them. Yeah, here's Tua. You guys will see it for yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I think it starts with the leadership in helping articulate that for the guys, and then what we're expecting out of the guys, right? We're expecting this. Are we getting that? Are we not getting that? We have guys showing up to player-only meetings late, guys not showing up to player-only meetings. Like, there's a lot that goes into that. Do we have to make this mandatory? Do we not have to make this mandatory? So it's a lot of things of that nature that we got to get cleaned up, and it starts with the little things like that.
To be clear, you're saying some players were late or missed?
Late, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
I don't know.
Nobody had that intel, but now everybody has that intel. That's not
right. And also, Tua, he played awful. He had 3 picks in the game yesterday.
Bad accountability,
accountability, right? 100%.
That's being accountable in the wrong way. You don't do it in the press. You don't do it in the media. That's the thing you do in the locker room. Where you get a group of people together and you say, let's go talk to this player and tell him we're disappointed in his lack of accountability. And you get on that player and you try and bring that player tighter into the group.
Right. I probably wouldn't have said those comments under any circumstance, but I could understand it if Tua had 4 or 5 touchdown passes and he was perfect and everyone else sucked. And then he had these comments. You're like, man, he's obviously carrying the team. But it looks much worse when you sucked and you were a big reason that your team lost in a last-second nature. And then you come into the podium and say, hey, where's all this leadership? By the way, aren't you a voted captain? Aren't you part of the leadership group? So isn't that on you that you're talking about everyone else, but you're talking about yourself? So, yeah, poor form. It looks like this Dolphins team is set to implode, and Mike McDaniel will inevitably be fired. And somehow the Jets lost to that team, so that's sort of unique. So, I mean, absolute disaster there. And, man, you start to think of where do the ripple effects go? Is Tua gone? Is Mike McDaniel gone? Are both gone? Do you just wipe it clean? And, oh, boy, where do you go from there? Because that's a lot of dead money that'll be on the books for the Dolphins.
I think they got to wipe it clean. I really do. I think coach, I think quarterback, I think they got to wipe that whole thing clean.
Yikes.
I meant to mention it before, but let me just go back to it real quick. The Brawl at the end of the Kansas City game. So I plugged out as soon as it was kind of over on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
I bailed on the Sunday night football game. And said, whatever I miss, I'll catch up on in the morning. And then I heard about this. So you stayed till the bitter end. So go ahead. Talk about what happened post-game.
Right.
It started with Mahomes and then trickled into some other players. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Chiefs beat the Lions decidedly. They win by 13 points. And then after the game, Patrick Mahomes going up, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes going up to Detroit Lions defensive back, as all players do. Once the game's over and you're just sort of individually seeing players before you go into the locker room, you dap them up, good game, blah, blah, blah. Mahomes going up to Brian Branch to dap him up and say, good game. He holds out his hand like, hey, and Brian Branch walks right past him like, want nothing to do with you, pal, and ignores him. All right, you want to be all in your feels after the game, so be it. Juju Smith-Schuster, Chiefs receiver, goes up to Brian Branch and attempts to do the same thing. Hey, buddy! Goes to dap him up, and Brian Branch punches him in the face. And then all of a sudden, a brawl ensues where Juju ends up on the ground. Brian's trying to jump on top of him. Teammates are trying to pull each other away. Andy Reid said that Juju got banged up pretty good and he was bleeding from his nose, so that his nose got busted up. So there could be suspensions coming on both sides. Again, I wish the NFL would do a better job of getting the instigator, not just the reactor, right? If I got punched in the face, how would I defend myself? Not like, oh boy, of course I would try to defend myself and fight back. So the fact that Juju is in line to potentially get suspended seems sort of crazy here, but we'll see what the NFL ends up doing. But yeah, both
should always the brunt of the punishment should always go to the guy that crossed the line first.
Correct.
Because it's just human nature. If somebody strikes you, that you're going to defend yourself in some way. I mean, it's just kind of human nature.
The other rest of the story is Brian Branch's contention with Juju is during the game, he got blocked in the back and the ref did not make the call. So Brian Branch was pissed and laid it out on him. And to me, that is the absolute definition of immaturity. Like, okay, it's a block in the back, which technically is an illegal play if the ref calls it. He didn't call it. They miss calls all the time. Get over it. And then after the game, you're still brewing on that stupid non-call that you go to punch someone in the face. Like, that's not how we handle life and business, not how you're supposed to handle life and business outside of work. So, that just seemed really immature by Brian Branch. He's a super talented football player and a big piece of what the Detroit Lions do, but you can't have that level of immaturity. That's stupid. So he's likely going to get suspended, and rightfully so.
It's funny, when you first started telling me about this, I thought it might have something to do with, did you see the play where Mahomes took the cheap shot from the star defensive lineman of the Lions, the defensive.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden, 2 steps and drilled him.
Oh, okay, yes.
And Mahomes got up and kind of, what was that? Kind of thing. And there was a verbal spat. I don't think there was a call on it either, which was, I thought it was definitely a late hit, and it was a kind of a vicious hit. Other than he didn't go to the ground with him, he just hit him and then kind of walked the other way, but he hit him good and caught him coming in full force. And he saw the ball was out. He was looking right at him. The ball was gone. 2 full steps and bang, hit him pretty good. I'm surprised that they didn't throw a flag on that, but Mahomes was none too happy about it. So I thought maybe it might have branched out of that, but no, it had nothing to do with it.
Which, by the way, I'll just show it on screen to show you guys what that play was. I have it on Twitter here, so we can show
Hendrickson,
you that.
Hutchinson.
Yes, how late it was. So
I thought it was quite late. I was actually surprised they didn't do more. Here it is. So boom is out. Bang! He gave him a good hit, and then just turned his back. Like, I'm getting out of here.
You can lip read. Mahomes looks at Hutchinson and says, "What the blank are you doing?" I mean, look at how late this is. I mean,
he's looking right at him. He knows it's gone. Yeah. So to me, that's a clear. You got to pull up. That's today's NFL. In the old days, you can get away with that dirty stuff, but in today's NFL,
like, look at this: 1, 2, 3.
Mahomes wasn't even expecting it like that. I think that's why he went flying so much, is because he was already relaxed. The ball's gone.
Surprised, right?
Nobody's really that close to me, and then boom, he just came in and gave it to him. I was like, ooh.
Yikes! Yeah, so you thought that could have been, which again,
maybe that might have been the instigator, because that was
right. But apparently
that was a real cheap shot, and
for
I'm
sure.
surprised actually that Hutchinson, of all people, would go down that road. Seems like a pretty stand-up kind of guy. So that was dirty. That was a little bit of dirty.
Definitely, yeah.
But I'm sure anti-Mahomes, anti-Chiefs guys love that little.
Sure, right. Give him a little shot because of all the calls he gets away with. So get it the other way. So yeah.
Maybe the fact that maybe the officials didn't call just simply because he just turned and went the other way. Like, he did the, if he did the stand over him or
maybe.
Or drove him in,
but they're normally on top of that, like especially Mahomes in particular.
They usually protect Mahomes. So I was actually quite surprised that we didn't see something there. Oh God, Johnny Boy, look at Johnny Boy's question.
What do we got here?
It's okay. Question for Lerch. What hurts more, getting kicked in the nuts or watching the Jets play? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'd still say getting kicked in the nuts, to be honest with you. I think when I see the Jets play these days, I mean, again, Johnny Boy, I don't have the attachment like you or Boy Green does. I mean, this is your team. This is what you live and breathe. And, I feel empathetic. I want to understand why these failures keep happening, why these things that shouldn't happen in football happen to the Jets. But they're not the only one. I mean, right? We were talking with Bud this past week about chargering.
Right.
How the Chargers just
They
seem,
nearly did it again over the weekend too.
you know, they do things that just have now become associated with the Chargers failing in some way, you know, failing to reach a goal, failing to finish a game off, failing in all kinds of epic ways. So, but there are a lot of franchises that have this, but it just
not
feels,
to this level. I
yeah,
guess.
it feels raw right now as a Jets fan, and it's never fun to be the only team that doesn't have a win.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's a lonely place.
and then again, like, how does it happen where this offense, while it hasn't been great all season, has been functional?
Sure,
Has
very.
been at times interesting, you know, with Fields at quarterback. Breece Hall has had a bit of a resurgence. The offensive line has actually looked pretty good at times. Now all of a sudden Mason Taylor is starting to show up as, as a potential tight end. Like, and, you know, and of course they've had Garrett. They need more receivers. That's the weak spot for sure. But, you know, but there's been some competency here and some good players. And then on the day that the defense, which has been horrific, we're talking about it all last week, how bad the D is. Like, where is the defense? What's wrong with this defense? I raised it to Dalton Wasserman, and he was like, are there really any good players on this team? I was like, yeah, come on. You got Sauce. You got this guy. He's like, well, you only named 3. I was like, well, do you need more than 3? I mean, like, it's 3 and a bunch of guys. It should be better. Even under the circumstances you're proposing, Dalton, they should be better. And they haven't been. No. And then they go out and get a really good, solid performance out of their defense.
Great performance. Held them to 13 points.
Disaster. Good, solid performance out of their special teams. And the offense turns into the defense for the day and says, we're taking the day off. We're going to become completely incompetent. We're going to make every mistake in the book. Our quarterback is going to throw for negative yardage in the game. Please tell me it isn't true. How could that possibly be true? What'd you say? 87 yards of total offense?
82.
82 yards of total offense.
Correct.
Passing, negative 10.
Yeah.
It's just unthinkable.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened.
So I just feel bad, Johnny boy. I don't feel personally hurt.
Yeah.
You know, like getting kicked in, you know, where the sun don't shine would. I just feel bad. Like, come on.
I don't know. For me,
better days. There have to be better days.
Well, it's hard to get worse, but there's like a sense of disbelief for me. And I know some Jet fans are just battered, beaten, and bruised. So they always know, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
It's that cynical nature, right?
Correct.
I'm just going to be cynical for forever and ever and ever until they prove me not to be cynical.
Right. And I'm the opposite. On a week-to-week basis, I convince like this week, the Jets play the Panthers. And while they just beat the Cowboys, I'm going to convince myself the Jets can beat the Panthers, and that could be the first win of the season. They're at home and all this other jazz. I'm going to convince myself that's going to happen. And then if and when they don't, then I'm like, and feels the pain of like I was just kicked in the nards or something. So, you know, it's a vicious cycle. I don't know if this will last forever. I don't know if it's just because I'm younger. I'm not sure what it is, but or just my nature. But I'm going to keep believing in this team. So it is painful, but eventually I think they're going to turn it around. And Jamie, I'll get to your side of it, right? Because a few people asked me that coming up. You may have to pull it up, Lerch, for some reason.
Yeah, I will. Okay.
For me.
Yeah. What does it say for the Broncos barely winning? You're right. I mean, the Broncos barely. Well, the only thing, I mean, I'll throw my little log on the flame here, Gordon, and just say, like, for me, for the Broncos, I mean, they were just coming off that big win the week before. I mean, it just might have been one of those letdowns. I mean, that's the only way I could explain it. And Bo Nix has been a bit of an anomaly. And on some weeks he's been good, and some weeks he's been, you know, kind of god awful. So that's the way I would explain it. It's still not a great explanation because their defense played gangbusters too. Their defense, you know, looked really good, and their defense did not get the job done. Ooh, look at that. We lost Paulie just like that. We lost him. See, you had to bring that up, Jamie, and now we lost him. Oh, there we go.
See, that's it. Sometimes when the comment, like, I don't have access to pull up comments, I'm like, oh, that's going to boot me out in a second. So sometimes StreamYard has those issues, but
it'll get you.
Yeah. But I would say this. I was not overly impressed with Denver. Their defense was really good, obviously, and held the Jets to no nothingness. But they weren't overly impressive. But they're a really good team. The Jets just must be a good matchup because they held Bo Nix in suit last year. They held him in suit this year, so it may just be a matchup thing is what puts it together. But so we'll see what the Broncos do. They have a shared place of first place in the AFC West.
And Johnny boy, you make this great point. This is a great point. You know, I think really the two of us too, to a certain extent, were Field supporters this year. I just thought the Jets made the right move getting away from Rodgers, taking a chance on a younger guy, and that younger guy happened to be Fields. I didn't love it, but I thought, it's still got potential, and it's better than that path they would have gone down otherwise. So that's kind of where I stood on Fields at the beginning of this whole thing. But I agree. It's hard if you're a Field supporter to defend that now. And I think part of it is the fact that I think the O-line is actually playing okay, and he just makes them look foolish by getting sacked that many times. Everyone's going to look at it and say, oh, they must have terrible line play. No, Fields just didn't get rid of the ball. I mean, he just held on to it forever. He just kept sitting in that pocket. I don't understand it. So you're right. It is, yesterday he made everybody look worse. I think that's actually, I'm so hesitant to put it on any singular player, but yesterday Justin Fields did things that made the team on offense look worse than it really is. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields got sacked 9 times. And again, the assumption being, oh, God, the Jets' offensive line must suck. I'm going to put at least 7 of I won't say at least. I'll put 7 of those sacks on Justin Fields for holding the ball too long. 2 of them, Olu Fasher just got beat quickly by Nick Benito, who leads the league in sacks, and he beat him twice. The offensive line got beat twice where Justin had no chance. But the rest of them, Justin Fields just holding on to the ball forever. You just have to have conviction. Like, go through your progressions quickly. It's not there. Throw it out of bounds. Get rid of it. Dirt it. Do whatever you got to do. You can. It's better than it, which again contributes to these negative net passing yards when you're getting sacked. Like, you have to make decisions in your head. 3-yard gain, dump it off to my check down here, or eat a 10-yard loss. Eat a 10-yard loss. Eat a 10-yard loss. That's how all these numbers are happening here. So yes, I was a massive Justin Fields supporter. Again, I will reiterate this. I don't want to see Tyrod Taylor. We're already 0-6. We're in the ship. Justin Fields, we've elected as our captain. We got to keep going down this journey until something. We don't have any other great options on the team. So I don't think they have any other choice.
It's Fields. And if you want in a couple of weeks, if he has a couple more bad weeks, then you go to the kid.
Yeah, right.
Go to the practice.
The practice squad, right.
The kid, Brady, what is it? Brady what?
Brady Cook, which a lot of fans go, let Brady cook. Like, maybe that's going to be the young kid we rally around.
By the way, that's not going to be your answer either.
No?
But you just do it because you have to do something else. That's it. It's just like, all right, well, this coffee's cold and this coffee's colder. Oh, there's one that's warm. I guess I'll drink that one, and you'll just drink the warmer cup because, coffee tastes lousy cold most of the time.
Yeah.
Unless you drink iced coffee. So you kind of get my point. I'll go back to this one real quick before we get out of here. Badshaw said, so what do you think about the Packers-Bengals spread? So we were talking about it. Well, if you watched our pick segment, Badshaw, every Friday, you can watch it. We talked a lot about that spread. And I am always, and Paul, this goes back years, and Paul would confirm this. When the spreads get to 2 touchdowns and more, I almost always take the underdog. I just believe that this is a professional football league, and these guys have pride, and it is just so hard to anticipate a team beating a team by 2 touchdowns or more. And I was on Cincinnati, thank goodness.
As was I.
Yes. And I think it might have just been me and you too, because everyone else was.
Packers. There's a lot of Packers. Yeah.
And I was like, no way am I giving 14 points? I don't care. Joe Bartle himself, Mr. Packer.
He went Bengals. Yeah.
He was like, I think the Cincinnati could win this game. I thought that was a bit of heresy.
Very much so.
But I did think that Cincinnati could hang around, and they did, despite their quarterback literally coming off the plane.
Which, quite frankly, things considered, he played halfway decent. But I think
right.
And Flacco said it. Sometimes we overcomplicate it. I know how to throw the ball, and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins know how to catch it. We'll sort of figure it out, and that's what happened. Jamar Chase had a great game, and I appreciate that for my fantasy team.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so that's that. So 2 football games tonight. Let's preview them real quick, Boy Green. We've got Buffalo, Atlanta, Washington, and Chicago. Either one of them got a little bit more of your focus. Which one you think is a better game here?
I'm excited about both. So we'll go with the first one. And for our Bills Mafia fans in the audience, I think the Bills Falcons game. Again, I've been to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I went there last year. Oh, what a palace!
Yeah, that's a beautiful palace. Yeah.
The concessions are the cheapest in the league, which is awesome. So that's a cool thing that Atlanta does for their fans.
Play by the Masters rules, Boy Green.
You're right, and I'm all about it. Like, again, we're talking about snacks and drinks for $1 or $2, and me and my dad, we each had $20 for went there. and I was holding like a truffle of food, and I was just like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing!" So
Fantastic.
they're great at concessions. It's a spectacle to be inside. The stadium is terrific, and I think there's going to be a lot of points tonight. Michael Penix and Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson, and then Josh Allen and company. It should be a lot of points going all over the place. So that should be a fun game. Can't wait for that one. And again, Buffalo should be on upset alert. I don't know. I've got a weird feeling about that with the Dirty Birds tonight. And then, of course, always when you have number 1 overall pick versus number 2 overall pick in the same draft, they're going to be forever connected forever. So Bears Commanders, we have 2-2 versus 3-2. The Bears had a bye week sprinkled in there too. And here's the other thing, Lerch. I don't know if you remember the game from last year that ended in the crazy Hail Mary play where the Bears defender was joking with fans, and then it ended up being a Hail Mary for Washington winning the game, and that totally spun their seasons. Washington went on to the NFC Championship game. Chicago imploded and fired their head coach. So that game was, fantastic drama last year, and I would imagine more fantastic drama on Monday Night Football. So that should be exciting.
Okay. All right. Good games. I'm looking forward to do we have any battles in fantasy tonight that are of note in our big league? I mean, we got all the leagues, but in our big league, in the Champs League, anything at play here tonight? There's some blowouts in our league this week, or teams. It's like a lot of decided. Usually, you got the doubleheader on Monday night. You got a lot of things still to be worked out.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that are sort of hanging up here in the air. Mark Rowlands and Austin are battling it out. Austin is a 5-point lead. They both have players left. I'll pull up the specifics here in a second. We've got me and Al, although I don't think it's much
You're
of
in
drama.
trouble. Yeah, you're in trouble.
He's got a 5-point lead in Josh Allen. I have Kyle Pitts, so that seems very unlikely that that's going to happen.
That doesn't look good.
Yeah, Russ is down 6, but he's got 2 players left in Zach Ertz and Keon Coleman, so that looks pretty
He's probably
close.
going to win that. Yeah, that's.
Jabber's down 20 points to Joe Bartle, and he is projected to win it tonight. He's got both DJ Moore and Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, so that looks very good for him. But again, so there's a couple of games, as always, up in the air, especially when you got a couple of Monday Night Football games. So, yeah, there's going to be some good ones. Let me go to the Austin Mark thing to see who we got playing on both sides. So, yeah, Mark Rowland says DeAndre Swift and Matt Gay, the kicker. And on Austin's side, he has James Cook. So we'll see what James Cook does this evening. So, yeah, some drama there with only a point separating them.
Okay. Not a really dramatic week for our league this week.
Yeah.
But, boy, I'm looking good, Boy Green.
I told you that before the show, and I agree. You're going to be 5-1 with the most points scored in the league, and you're in a great position, man.
Made some good choices. Made some good choices this year. When running back at the top of the draft, and all 3 guys have been solid. I ended up with Bijan Robinson, who we'll get to see tonight.
Sure.
Josh Jacobs, who's been rock solid. Had a really good day yesterday, his first really big week, but he's been rock solid the other weeks. He's on a pretty good team in the Green Bay Packers. And then Kyron Williams, who's just Mr. Versatility. As long as that guy can stay healthy and on the field, man, he's fantastic. I love that little scat. He's a little scat back, I call him.
Yeah.
He's just got all kinds of cool skills. And then I again, the middle rounds, I think a lot of times is where you will make or break whether your team's going to be at the top or in the middle at the very least, or even at the bottom. And I just hit on a couple of guys, Roma Dunze has been great. Get to see him tonight too. He's really been terrific. So, you hit at the top of the draft and then you hit a couple late and you're like, ooh, man,
that's
this
the key.
Roster. I don't have to do all that much.
So, Lerch, you may be adding another championship to these trophies back here.
By the way.
You're welcome. Yeah, I said, first off, you're welcome on the Broncos defense. I'm a giver. That's always the kind of guy I've been. And also, you could be adding your championship name to one of these trophies back here soon.
We'll see. I'm in it actually I'm in 3 of the 4 leagues, and you're in all 4 leagues. And we'll see when it plays out. But it looks like I'm going to win in all 3 again this week, and I'm going to be in the top 3 in all 3 leagues for sure.
Wow!
I know first place. I'm going to be in first place in the Champs League. That's pretty much almost determined already. But the chumps, I'll be right there, probably in second, and the Triple C, I'm right in there too, maybe third or second, depending on how things play out tonight. So, man, I'm just having a good fantasy year, man.
Ride it out, baby. Enjoy it when it comes.
Right, rare that it happens like this. So when you right? And ride her till she bucks you, right? So fantastic. All right. Don't forget about the golf club, everybody. If you're not already a subscriber, again, put it up there one more time, Boy Green. YouTube.com/MC Show Digital. Please subscribe to our channel. We need every single one of you to be part of our little family in our community. Pass it along to your friends, your family. All right. And you have a chance to win a brand new Cleveland High-Bore XL driver, courtesy of our friends at Play It Again Sports. All right. Here's the head cover. Boy Green's giving me the cue here. All right. There's the head cover. Beautiful. All right. I want this thing out of my room, frankly, out of my office. All right. Here's the club. All right. Still wrapped in plastic. Beautiful new, brand new golf club. All right. So get on board and subscribe to our channel now if you're not already. All right, Boy Green, final thought if you have one.
Well, again, so for folks for that golf club, again, we're giving it away for free. If you're one of our first 500 subscribers, which is free to do, you have a chance to win that for yourself or for a holiday gift. We're getting to the holiday season around here, so it would make a lot of sense to jump on that train if you guys are out there. But no, I'll quote a Batman line here, Lerch, that the night is always darkest before the dawn. And while the Jets are 0-6, the night is always darkest before the dawn. So there you go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, for Boy Green, it's the Manchild signing off. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We've got a great week for you. We've got Bud Poliquin coming tomorrow. We've got Jake Asman coming tomorrow. Ed Valentine arriving early this week as well. Anthony Prohaska, our Bills insider, on Thursday as usual. Of course, we got our live shows on Wednesday and then Friday again with Joe Bartle. We'll see if Bartle's feeling indifferently about that Denver defense after a nice little 13-point output. We'll continue that discussion, see if Joe's still grouchy or is he happy. Maybe that depends on if he wins or loses tonight in our fantasy league. But we'll chat with Joe again on Friday. And, of course, our NFL pick segment always on Friday as well. You can get involved by picking our picks on Instagram every single Friday when we post them. Yeah, go ahead.
And one more live show, our Survivor live show on Wednesday night,
yes,
baby.
Survivor. All right, that's right. Survivor, we're back on the beam, episode 4. Right? Episode 4
correct
of season 49. Brett LaBelle back on board, our live Survivor show. So if you love this TV show Survivor, join us for that. That's a lot of fun. And we have a blast doing it. We've been doing it for many, many years, but now we've turned it into a post-show or a post-game show, whatever you want to call it. And it's right after Survivor on Wednesday nights. We hit the airwaves right about 9:45. So show ends at 9:30. Give you a minute to get a Coke or two and come on over and hang out on Survivor. You can get in the comments, talk to Brett very directly, and we're happy to take comments and thoughts and stuff in the post-game show. All right, so that'll do it here for a Monday Live. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We will see you again soon, live on Wednesday. Take care.